people. Perfect. My name is Amanda. I'm an animal care specialist here at Wild Arctic. I'm going to taking you guys on our inside look here behind the scenes at Wild Arctic. Has anybody done the inside look at this location anytime previous? Nobody? Awesome. All right, welcome. If you haven't gotten a chance to go see other sites that have inside looks as well, I highly recommend that when you guys are done here with us. We're going to take a peek at some of our enrichment devices we use for our animals here. We're going to take a stop at our filtration and water quality, and then most importantly, we're going to take a little look at our fish house where all of our food is prepped for all of our animals here. If you haven't been through the Wild Arctic exhibit yet today, or ever, we're home to beluga whales, walruses, and harbor seals. So at the very end, I'm going to have you guys exit right into the building so you guys can see all those really cool animals we're going to talk about along the way. So like I said, my name is Amanda. I'm an animal care specialist here at Wild Arctic. I've been here at SeaWorld for about 3 years, and I've been here at this specific location for almost a year now. I do feel very strongly that we have the most unique and special animals here at Wild Arctic. For those of you that don't know, we actually hold 4 Pacific walruses here at our facility. There's actually only a total of 12 in human care across the entire United States. So I feel very fortunate that I get to work with 4 of those. We're also the only facility that has a successful breeding pair as well. We've had 2 babies born in about the last 4 or 5 years. So it's kind of cool. We're going to take one pause just for 1 sec. We don't want to leave anybody behind. All right, perfect. So we do have that successful breeding pair. So I think it's really important that our animals are nice and special. I don't know about you guys. I don't really venture to the Arctic very often. So they're not animals that I can go see whenever I want. So I hope when you guys are done kind of seeing the back area here and as well as checking them out on our habitats and exhibits, you learn to care and love for them just as much as I do. So we got some really cool objects hanging out up here. This is what we're going to call our enrichment devices, better known as toys for a lot of our animals that live here at Wild Arctic. You might see some different things, maybe some bigger versions of toys you might have for your pets at home as well. I'm going to point out a couple of my favorites. If you guys see anything that you really want to know about, let me know and I'll talk about that as well. One of my favorite things out here is this really cool brush board here. Cetaceans lose their skin several times throughout the day. It's very different than you and I. This is an object we can put in the water. They can rub their bodies along to help kind of pull that skin off. They don't have fingers and nails like you and I do. They can't just scratch it whenever they want. So they'll use different objects to kind of rub along. It also gives them a little bit of a body massage as they kind of swim around. Very similar to the kelp that you see here and the fabric pieces here. They really like when we sink this down to the bottom and it kind of sticks up in the air and then they can kind of swim around through it as well. This big barrel over here is a big favorite with our walruses. So this is something that we can use to help encourage foraging behaviors that they would naturally do out in the Arctic. We'll cut holes like this in it. We can put fish and food and different things inside of it. They will use their vibrissae, those are those big whiskers on the front of their walrus faces, and they're going to come right up, they're going to find this little hole, and then they're going to suction out all the food. It's very similar to what they would do in the Arctic. They are big eaters of clams. They can eat about 30 to 60,000 clams in one day. So they can actually sift through the sand, find that clam shell. Once they find the clam, they'll suck the meat out of it, so very similar with these. This is probably one of my more fun favorite toys that we have out here. It's a really cute little rubber ducky. Everybody's like, why do you have a rubber duck? You don't have a bathtub here. It's not for me. One of our beluga whales, Oliver, actually really does enjoy this toy. He actually knows how to mimic a duck sound. So a lot of times when we give him this toy, he'll make his duck noise too. So it's really cute. We also have a really cool object up here. Hi, Keeper Stacy. So this is a really fun object. This is a bowling ball. It's not for me or for Keeper Stacy to use when we're not caring for the animals. It is actually for our animals. We've given it to several different of the animals here, and guess what? They all hate it. Nobody wants to play with the bowling ball, and that's fine. It's kind of like trial and error, figuring out what each animal and each individual really likes to play with. It's just like you and I, we don't all like the same books and TV shows and movies and things like that. It's very similar for our animals. They all tend to kind of like a couple objects more than others, but it's not something that we're going to give them every single time because we don't want them to get bored with it. I like to kind of compare it to your pets at home where they kind of enjoy the box more than they actually like the toys. It's very similar with a lot of our animals here as well. You guys have any questions about anything you see up here? It's not something that I can just go to Walmart or Home Depot, pick something up off the shelf, bring it to work, and just toss it in the water. It doesn't really work like that. So all of our vets approve all of the toys that go in with all of our animals. We want to make sure that it's staying nice and safe. We want to make sure that it's not something that they can accidentally ingest or get entangled in or anything like that. Some of our toys are supervised only, so they're objects that we'll put in with the animals. They can play with it while we're watching them, and then when they're kind of done, we'll go ahead and remove it just for their safety. And it makes it a little bit more fun because it's not something that they can have all the time either. So Wild Arctic is home to about 1.2 million gallons of man-made salt water. So even though we're in this nice, cool Florida place, we are in the middle of Florida, which means it takes us like an hour and a half or so to go to the coast, which means we can't just go get salt water from the ocean whenever we want to. So this big cement wall you see here is actually a water basin for Arctic. So anytime we need to make that salt water, we'll actually dump bags and boxes of salt right in here. It'll all get mixed up and then it'll get sent out to the exhibits. It takes about an hour and a half to about 100 minutes for a full filtration to go through. So it's pretty fast for 1.2 million gallons. It's not something that I personally do. Our water quality team here at SeaWorld is phenomenal. They're the ones taking care of all of the exhibit water that you see. So not just here, but also with the orcas and the dolphins and the manatees as well. So Wild Arctic, it sits at about 50 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature. That's about springtime up in the Arctic. I will tell you, when I get in to dive, it's very cold. I do wear about an 8mm wetsuit just to stay warm. All of our animals have nice layers of fat and blubber on their bodies to help keep them warm. If you guys take a look over to your left-hand side, you're going to see all these colored pipes. These are different pipes transferring different things out to the exhibit. So we've got dirty water coming off the exhibit to go through the filters. We've got clean water going back out. The really cool thing about all of the colors that you see here is that it is the same across all 3 SeaWorld parks. So if you go to San Antonio or to San Diego, you'll see that all their pipes are color coordinated the same as well. The most important color pipe that we have here is actually going to be over on your right hand side. It's going to be those purple ones that you see there. That's part of our heat exchange. That's going to help maintain that 50-degree water. All of our animal pools here at Wild Arctic are connected to each other. We're not connected to any of the pools on the other sides of the park, so like the manatees or the dolphins or anything like that. So that way you don't have to worry about any of the water kind of getting mixed around. But that's going to help keep our temperature at 50. We're going to make sure it's not accidentally getting to 70 and then back to 50 and then negative 20. That's not good for the animals to have that big fluctuation. So it's going to help us keep it right at that nice 50 degrees. You guys coming right this way. So these big silver doors here are really important to us. This is going to house all of our fish here at Wild Arctic. If you've gotten a chance to go to the other side of the park at all, our main freezer for all of the fish, for all the animals here, is located over closer to where the dolphins and the stingrays are. It's a really long trek for us to have to go over there all the time just to get a couple boxes of fish here and there as we need. So we're pretty self-sufficient here. We're going to hold about a week's worth or so of fish here for all of our animals. We've got different coolers and freezers for it to go in so we can rotate it around, making sure nothing's going expired or anything like that. The day before we're going to feed it out to the animals, it's going to go in our cooler to start our thawing process for that fish for the day. And then this is our very, very important room. This is going to be our fish prep, diet prep room for all of the animals here. We are very lucky that one individual gets to come in every morning at 4:30 to start our diet prep for the day. So there are sinks located along that back wall there. That's where they're going to put all the fish that we're going to use for the day to feed to all the animals. They're going to put water on top of it. It's going to thaw it out to the appropriate temperature. And then we're going to bucket all the fish for all the animals. There's this board located right here behind me. That's going to tell us exactly what all the animals are eating and how much of different types of fish that they're going to get throughout the day. We really like our colors here at Wild Arctic, so you'll notice that all the animals kind of have colors underneath of their names. We're actually going to put that color tape on their buckets. That way I can look at a bucket and go, that's just a blue bucket, that goes to Grayson. If I have just a purple bucket, that's going to go to Garfield. A little bit easier than trying to read a scrubbed off name on the bucket. So it makes it a little more easier and fun for us. To give you guys an idea of what kind of fish we feed to our animals here, the H's that you see, that's going to be the herring fish. That's going to be those larger fish that you probably see kind of throughout the park. That's their more meatier, their higher caloric intake fish, so compared to like a steak that you and I would eat. The C's are going to be the capelin. Those are those a little bit smaller fish. That is going to be, they're more water-based, so that they're going to get all of their freshwater intake solely from all of the food that they eat. A lot of our animals also get that squid. The whales really love the squid. It's nice and slimy. We toss it right in their mouths. It just slides right down their throat into their tummies. And like I said, the walruses eat lots and lots of clams. So we actually get the clams in the park just solely for the walruses. They're the only animals that eat it, so they come in specifically just for them. If you guys take a peek kind of at the numbers here, Garfield, that's our larger male walrus. He sits at about 3,300 pounds in weight. He gets about 60 pounds of food a day. His little daughter, Cora, she's about 2.5 years old now. She's about 950, almost 1,000 pounds. So she's going to get about 25 pounds of food every day. As she continues growing, we're going to keep adding more and more food to her diet. Some of the animals are picky eaters, just like you and I. You'll notice that Caboodle here doesn't actually get any squid because she hates it. We've tried to give it to her. She spits it out. She turns her nose up at it. She wants nothing to do with it. And that's fine, so we just give her more of something else to help kind of balance her out a little bit. But there are some animals that prefer lots of other things over different types of fish. So it's just like you and I. We're kind of picky. They can be picky about it too. It's really important for us to pay attention to the calories of all the different types of fish that we have. So if we were to get in like salmon and start feeding that out, that's going to have a different calorie ratio compared to some of our other fish. So we may have to adjust how much food they're getting based on the type of fish that they're eating as well. You guys have any questions about anything you see?
Are all those numbers the pounds that they get?
Yes, yeah, so it's all in pounds. We live here in the U.S., so we use poundage.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll put it right on that scale there, each bucket, and then we can weigh it out. I will say I learned to get really good at math at 4:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's all in poundage. We can adjust it as need be. Because the herring has more calorie intake, you may see that some of them have a higher number where the herring is and then lower numbers on like the squid and the capelin and stuff like that. That's just because they're getting more herring, so we can lessen the amount of the other food that they're getting as well. Perfect. All right, so we're gonna get to the super exciting part, the AC.
Woo! Yay! How did Marlon end up with the whole rainbows?
Because his favorite keeper, Jessica, wanted to have the most extreme colored bucket and decided to pick the rainbow. So it was colors that kind of all of us as keepers picked, and that was her favorite seal, and that was what she wanted to put on his bucket. So, all right, we're gonna head right out.
Hello.
You ready for the animal kitchen finally? Yes. Come on in. Have a good time.
Thank you. Mammal care, mammal care, mammal care, mammal care, mammal care, mammal care. Fish house.
Fish house.
Thank you. Ooh.
Are you good for the last one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys. Fish house. You guys are welcome to take photos as much as you like in here. Now this is just one of several fish houses or areas that we have food for our animals, basically, here at SeaWorld. But this is one that actually feeds probably the most animals out of all of our facilities. So here in the fish house, we have several different departments that are going to utilize this space to get the food prep for their animals. Right behind you guys here, this is actually going to be a little corner for our rescue team. So you guys might notice on the drying rack right there, you see some baby bottles with some very large baby caps. Now those we actually use for our orphan manatee caps. So we have quite a few orphan manatees that come through our rescue program here at SeaWorld. Essentially, if you guys have been over to that manatee area, you might have seen them. We've got a couple little lunch kids in there right now. It's so cute. But what happens a lot with our manatees out in the wild, sometimes babies get separated from their moms out in the wild. Sometimes something might happen to mom, boats come by, different things like that. Either way, we'll usually get a call from a bystander or an official that lets us know that one's been spotted. We'll go out there and we basically monitor to make sure for sure mom's out just around the corner. We want to make sure,
all the spaces for them. Now right behind you over here, you're going to see a whiteboard. On that whiteboard, you'll see several different species of fish. So the first couple, peaklin, herring, as you move down, a little bit more familiar, salmon, squid, clams. So those are going to give you an idea of how many pounds of those types of species of fish need to be prepped every single day. So now that big green number on the very bottom where it says total, 1,399. So that's the total number of pounds of food that comes out of this fish house every single day. It's just a few grams. And keep in mind, this is only one of several. Now the amount of pounds that go out for our entire park in a day is going to be between 3,000 and 5,000. So we guys are in quite a lot of food. Yeah. Behind me here are our ice makers. All of our fish that needs to be fed out will be on ice. It does have to stand to restaurant quality. Over here is our cooler. So all of the fish is going to come frozen first. Then we'll move it to a cooler where it'll thaw and then we'll be able to eat it out to our animals. Now the last thing I want to point out here, you see some hoses kind of hanging from the ceiling. You notice on the floor, there's really no fish guts, there's no fish scales. It's pretty clean in here in terms of the fish house. Now we have to keep this super, super clean for a few reasons. One, of course, is animal welfare. We want to make sure everything is spotless and perfect for them as we can. But the second is that we can actually get inspected by USDA or AZA, which is the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, at any time with zero notice. So they might just knock on your door and say, hey, we need to look at your coolers. We need to be ready for them. So we have to make sure that everything is spotless at all times. So pretty cool here at SeaWorld. All right, are there any questions about that? I know I just went through a lot of information. All right, perfect. Well, you guys are here to see dolphins, so let's go see some dolphins.
Hi, Katie.
That was a good one. That was pretty good.
So Nathan, what inside look are we doing right now?
Inside plants.
Inside plants?
Inside
I thought this was SeaWorld, not Plant World.
I think I went to the wrong part.
Ah. That's okay. It's a good thing we like plants too. Nathan loves plants so much he doesn't eat vegetables.
Can you be my line leader? You look trustworthy. I'm gonna have you walk along the curb until you get to the staircase, then stop.
Okay.
Okay. Following. They're following us. I don't know why. The big group
She said we look
following us.
trustworthy. I don't know what her sense of judgment is.
Well, live and learn.
Contingent. Dolphins live in a social group, and like all social groups, they succeed best when they're able to work together. So socially, ask them to work together as a big old group of 14 animals. So each animal has their own special assigned spot and their special assigned trainer for the day. Melanie is working here with Iggy and Hurley, and Kaylee is working with Dexter and Rascal. And sessions like this are really good for our animals because we have the privilege of introducing you to our dolphins. But the most important part is that our dolphins know us first. So getting to know our dolphins, building that relationship with them is a really big part of our job. This is cute. Check this out. Oh, they're so confused over there. So you see the cute sitting? That is incorrect right now. That is not what they're asked to do. They're asked to do what's called a rod and reel, so we imaginarily cast them out and reel them back in, and they try to do with the actually real sound. But again, working together, 14 dolphins doing one second is hard work. So I'm going to ask them one more time. We do want to make sure our dolphins are successful. Let's see if they can get it right this time. There they go. I put it on purpose. That's silly. So as you can see, training here at SeaWorld is a lot of fun because we don't do a lot of punishment or any techniques like this. What we do is positive reinforcement. So when they do what they were asked to do, they get something fun, whether it's a rub down, some touch, some love, some food, some toys. All right, we good? All those things they offer. When they are incorrect, we just move on to the next thing. You might have noticed So Melanie moves on to the next thing, and we can do mini sessions like this whenever we want, making them different lengths, trying to add a lot of variability to their day. Now, what we're going to do next is have a little more question and answer time with Melanie and Kaylee, and then in a little bit you're going to get the chance to touch the dolphins.